God, we're live. My heart is fluttering. This is great. The internet was working. The signal is fine. We're all in our homes, hopefully, unless you're doing something that is essential, like working in a hospital or at a grocery store or going shopping at a grocery store. Anyway, we're on Periscope, YouTube, and Twitter. Thank you for complimenting my shirt. I got this from Daniel Bostic, and Daniel is he's got this, he and Ali Alexander and another person, they run Culture. It's like an online magazine, so he gave me this shirt. Anyway, someone is asking me if I don't do YouTube anymore. I actually do YouTube. This is actually also going on YouTube. Shabbat Shalom to the person who just said that to me. I have not forgotten about Shabbat, about if you keep Shabbat. I'm a little bit late for you, but it's still before candle lighting. So if you're waiting to light candles, waiting to, put your things away, your electronics and whatever, you've got this little window if you're bored. I just wanted to check in. End of week, Friday afternoon. First week of staying at home for a lot of people who are teleworking or who've been laid off. A lot of people have been laid off who are looking for new work. So it's basically the end of the first week that it's like this. I'm curious to see what it's like for you guys. How has coronavirus affected your life? I'll tell you some of my friends that I talked to, either laid off, or I have a friend who was just telling me about rental properties. So like worrying about if renters will pay their rent at all because they don't have to, because they can't get evicted now. If you are renting, good news for you is that you don't have to pay your rent just yet. You won't get evicted. Not good news for your landlord. If you are, if you do gig work, if you are, you do Airbnb, you are a server, bartender, you work in any sort of like hospitality, you work outside, anything that kind of like requires you to like interact with people, you work in the music industry, music festivals, stuff like that. A lot of jobs are being really hit hard. It's really hot in here. I'm sorry. It's very hot in here. Yes, Bradley says you should definitely pay rent. I support that. Definitely pay rent if you can. Personally, it's really weird, but I don't feel like this crisis, maybe I'm not like digesting it, or maybe I'm just incredibly lucky. This came at a really, this is happening at a time in my life where everything kind of worked out shortly before it. The past few years have been insane. Like, really rocky, just moving around so much, just craziness. I had so many like breakdowns on Twitter. I went through so many different jobs, a lot of like public jobs where I had a byline and I was writing political stuff, and it was really stressful. A lot of you guys saw me being, me trolling or being trolled on Twitter, just a lot of just projecting a lot of stress and anxiety, and I was kind of miserable, and like my life was kind of chaotic, and I was just depressed constantly. If this happened during that time, if this happened like around just any time in the past couple of years before this nice calm period, I don't know what I would have done. And I've been talking to some people who have been saying the same, where like, oh, recently I got my shit together, I finally saved up after a couple of years or whatever, I finally bumped up my credit score, I finally figured things out, you know, like got a job, got a place to live, all this stuff, and then this happened. But if this happened like before, I wouldn't have been prepared at all. Yeah, a lot of people that not a lot, but some people that I talk to are like having that same sort of feeling. And I feel kind of guilty for feeling this way, like almost calm, almost like happy. It's like, in not happy that everybody is suffering, but almost like, oh, I'm finally not battling through something by myself. Like, I'm finally not going through this crazy upheaval of my life all alone. It's like happening with everybody else. Everybody's experiencing this together, and it in no way means that I am a screw up or I'm like in my own little corner, or like it's like beyond my control. I just saw a 21-year-old say they have it. Oh my god, it's really hot in here. Someone says, Nature Speaks says, I have the virus and I'm 21. Already have asthma, so probably gonna die. Really? Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. What's it like? I wish I can bring you on my screen right now, but I don't know how to do it on this software. Like, I know how to do it if it's just Periscope, but this isn't streaming only on Periscope. This is also streaming on like YouTube and Twitch. So if this is only on Periscope, I would be able to, but I want you to come and like talk about it. Can you DM me, Nature Speaks? If you're able to, like if you're able or interested. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for the super chat. And yes, I did my hair today because I don't want to be like home in bedhead all day, all week. Let me get Nature Speaks here. Woo, woo, woo. If you're new, by the way, if you're new to my live streams and you're like, what is this dumb shit? What are you doing? Welcome to my live stream, where it's basically like you're in my living room and we just hang out and talk about stuff. Okay. Living room. Okay, if you're on Periscope, live on YouTube. Join me if you're bored. Yeah, I just shared the link on YouTube, so if you're watching this on Periscope and you're curious, like, what am I talking about, go over to YouTube and subscribe to my YouTube channel, because that way you'll see when I go on YouTube, and I don't necessarily I can't post some stuff on Periscope or Twitter, like it just goes straight to YouTube, so you'll know. Alright. So that's how it's been for me. I spoke to someone else earlier, like a cancer patient, and she was saying how like for her it was kind of a similar feeling, not from the financial side but from the health side, like, oh, I've been struggling with this thing this entire time, and I felt so alone. And this is happening, which is bad. It's a bad thing. I'm not happy that this is happening, but like suddenly everyone is kind of in it together. Suddenly everybody has to wash their hand and freak out about going outside and coming into contact with germs. Suddenly it's not just her. Suddenly everybody is worried about their family members and their loved ones. It's not just like you cancer patient over there in the corner. Suddenly everybody is like, their lives are being uprooted and they're having to move around and having to switch jobs and having to like, they're like have these different kinds of relationships and long distance and being in isolation and all this stuff. It's not just you. And that made a huge difference for me, honestly. It's almost like being validated. Like, okay, I was right to have felt all that like stress and anxiety, because look how other people are handling like having to move last minute, or look how other people are handling being being like laid off from a job, or having to like switch a job, or unstable living situations. It just makes you feel like you're not crazy. Like, wow, like I handled this I handled this in the past, and now it's like, and now like these kind of things aren't crazy for me. Like, I could do it. I'm stronger than a lot of other people. And it's like a nice feeling to have. It's like an empowering kind of feeling. And also just, yeah. Clark says we have 9 more days before the beginning starts seriously. Oh wow, 9 more days before the spread? Before spread worsens? Also, I mentioned Shabbat earlier, so I'm not religious anymore. I grew up ultra-Orthodox. I grew up Orthodox Jewish from, I don't know, people don't like to use the word ultra-Orthodox, but so I grew up like keeping Shabbat very strictly, and if I were still religious, around 7, I think it's candle lighting is at 7:19 is when Shabbat would begin. That's why I mentioned it. But this weekend, a lot of people around the world, basically like a lot of people are keeping Shabbat, just as in kind of like as a, like, they're like dedicating it to stop the coronavirus spread. I don't know. Like anyways, it's like taking on a commitment in prayer. So that's why I mentioned it. A lot more people this weekend are keeping Shabbat, and a lot of celebrities and stuff like that. So my sister told me to do it. I honestly, like, anytime anyone in my family tells me to keep Shabbat, I get so angry. I get really annoyed, and sometimes I lash out at them, and I sacrificed 23 years of my life for this, and I'm not doing it anymore, and like, just stop it. Like, I already did my share. I already I don't want to have anything to do with this anymore. But this time it's different, because it's like, we're anyways home. It's not like my life is gonna change so much from keeping Shabbat, so that's why I was like, okay, fine. It's just, alright, fine, don't work, don't touch the phone, okay, don't touch, do this live stream, end it before candle lighting, okay, whatever. So that's fine. Watch a movie. I mean, my roommates will be my roommates will be watching a movie anyway, so I get to watch it with them, so whatever. All right. Okay, before we leave, just want to hear about you guys. What are you doing? How's your life being affected by this? Nature speaks. If you get a chance, don't feel shy to DM me. And then we can have you on like later on. We can do like a Periscope, and you can just talk about what it's like for you being 21 and having the virus. Because so far I keep seeing like stories of like older people, but I can't imagine what it's like for younger people, like people around our age. A lot of people are bored. Someone is asking if I'm quarantined. I'm actually not quarantined. Like, everyone in my office is working from home. So that's why I'm just working from home. That's the only... although I am staying away from... I mean, in general, I'm not seeing people, but even if I was going out in public and stuff, I would try to stay away from older people. I think that you should too if you're, like, a little bit younger, just because... we don't know if we have it. Like, I mean, we will likely not know if we have it because, you know, thankfully, I'm sure a lot of viruses pass through my body, and I don't know because my immune system just blocks it. So I wouldn't want to have it passing through my body and be a carrier for somebody who will have symptoms. So if you're like that, and by healthy, it doesn't even mean like you're perfect. It just means that you don't have like, it just means that you're like basically healthy. Just stay away from older people. I would try to. Someone is doing podcast. If you are interested in doing live streams, I definitely recommend it. It gets better. Like, you start doing a live stream. I started doing it last year. I would do it every weeknight. I started doing it in April. I went all the way until November. I stopped in November because I was depressed, but it was really good for me. And I learned so much while doing it. The first time I did it, I was like too embarrassed to be in front of a camera. But as you keep live streaming, making videos and whatever, you start to get more used to it. And as you kind of like get back in the flow, or get in the flow, you stop being like shy and awkward. So if you have even a little bit of awkwardness in the beginning, or you don't know what to talk about, or it's like weird, or like it's like cold, or like not flowy, it really gets better just by constantly doing it every night or every other night or whatever. Just have a schedule. It's something that I highly recommend, and it's a lot of fun. You can multi-stream to different platforms. If you have any questions, you can ask me. I learned so much from live streaming, like from making money on YouTube to becoming, getting monetized on YouTube to like, and I didn't even do it, so I didn't even put in as much effort as I should have. But I learned a lot from doing it. Sorry, it's such annoying noise in the background. Yeah, definitely do it. Nate says, Pardes, do it every night like the old days. And I'd have guests on. Want me to have a guest on? Yeah, I'll have guests on. After quarantine, after this period when we can meet up with guests again, or on Periscope. Yeah. It's just like, if you wanted to watch like a scripted show or whatever, if people wanted to watch a scripted show, they would go watch CNN or Fox or something. Like, people watch live streams because of like the community effect. That's what this is. And especially during like quarantine period, that's like the whole point of it. Shabbat Shalom, Dove. Thank you so much. Thanks for your super chat, Dove. Have an amazing weekend. Jeremiah says, yes, you are a good person, Pardes, even though I don't understand you sometimes. Thank you. That means a lot to hear. The worst thing for me was when I was like in public, doing public political work. The worst thing for me was constantly being demonized constantly feeling demonized. Like, people don't know me, they'll write an article about me saying I'm just evil, I'm this, I'm that, all these bad things about me, and always just feeling misunderstood. And feeling like not a human being. Like, people just see me as this like political ad that they can just shit on, and I was just a young, wide-eyed girl who came to DC and just wanted to do something fun and didn't know much about politics, but just kind of got sucked into like the whole hype and became a punching bag, and it was miserable. And the nicest thing to hear now is when I having gone over that hump, and now I'm thankfully not doing that anymore. The nicest thing to hear now is when I see people who are like, oh, like, I don't really agree with what you said I don't agree with what you said online or in person, or I don't like this thing you said, or I don't understand this thing you said, but I think you're a good person, or I want to be your friend, whatever, like, you're cool. And that's the nicest thing ever. Someone says that I do have wide eyes. Yes, literally have wide eyes. Jim says when they attack, just attack right back at them. I did in the beginning. In the beginning, I was pretty good with hitting back. But when you're also stressed out from other things at the same time, and then you start to like become insecure, and your self-esteem kind of gets to you, and eventually it eats at you, and you start to like crumble. And I think that's what happened to me. Like, it was really not fun. I don't envy anybody who's famous, at least not quickly famous. Like, I don't envy people who have had to overnight have, I don't envy any like famous political figures. I don't envy any, and even like, no matter how amazing you are, when you're in this world, when that's you're just constantly being like pushed aside like a rag doll and just beat up on. It's like literally people's jobs to torture you and harass you and just be absolutely cruel to you. Some of them will try to dox you for no reason. The political game, it can be so like, it's just so awful. But on another great thing about the crisis is that it kind of is forcing people to like, I mean, of course there's still partisans throughout the crisis, but it kind of forced people to work together and focus on things that actually matter. And when you are in a crisis, you're not like randomly going after people you're not randomly going after young girls on the internet to try and torture them, because you have bigger things to deal with. You have bigger worries. You have bigger things to worry about. You're not like trying to like compete with people in DC or try to target them or try to get people fired or trying to hurt people's reputations, because you have worse things to deal with. You have your own job to deal with, your own livelihood, your own family, your own health. So that, I mean, I don't want to like rejoice over something that's hurting people and killing people, but definitely something that is a plus that comes with it. Okay, so hope you have a wonderful weekend, guys. I'll be back doing these things, and we'll have fun. You have any topics that you want to talk about, or if you want to come on as a guest, we can do it on Periscope. So just let me know in advance. I can't do it once I start. I can't like start this and then afterwards be like, oh, well, who wants to come on as guest? And then I can't do that. I'd have to do it afterwards. All right, stay safe. Don't go out. Just know if you think of possibly going out, remember me and remember that I'm home. I'm not going out, and I'm cool. So if you want to be cool also, you should also stay in. Like this video if you're on YouTube, and subscribe. Okay, see you. Bye. Thank you, JF. That's really nice, JF. Thank you. Thank you, Eric. Bye-bye.